Def and Kel, but who was first, Def or Kel? Hey, Battle Q64, welcome back. I have to admit I was a bit depressed yesterday and this morning because I don't know. The amount of work seems endless. There's no end in sight yet. Well, guess I'll just keep on working, right? Why am I doing this? Guess I'm pondering at the same time. Let's make them squarish. Let's add a bit more. This is my window, which I divided in two parts. And I'm going to draw a square. Yeah. Okay, well. So if this is my window with 4 squares in it, and I want each square to have a certain picture in it, like cute kitten here. Call that picture. Picture A. Here we have another picture, picture B. And here we have yet another picture. Picture C. D. I do not play video games, no. Just a bit on my tablet, but not nothing serious. I used to play, it's not even a game really, but I used to do it, hang out in Second Life. It's kind of dead and annoying. Okay, furthermore I have here, this is going to be drawn, I want this to be drawn by pipeline 1, nah, 0. And then this is pipeline 1. Now each pipeline could have a different shader, and that the whole reason that they have different shaders might be the reason that they are different pipelines to begin with, because the shader code is really part of a pipeline. If you have to change the shader, Yeah, you might as well have two pipelines. At least that's how I understand it. But let's say that in this case I want to use the same shader in both pipelines. I don't ask why, just for the sake of testing. Then I only have a single shader. So the vertex shader of both pipelines is going to look like, yeah, I don't know. Let's have a look what it was. So these are texture coordinates, so it's usually they're called UV or something like that. And I'm also using a push constant here, I see. Yeah. Exactly like I want to use different textures, I could use different instance buffers and then not use a push constant. And this is not even depending on a texture, that is the fragment shader. So maybe I should say let's do the same thing for the vertex shader, or for the index buffers. So the vertex data, the red from the vertex buffer, would be just a square in this case, or a cube, whatever. And then the instance data could be used as the position and or rotation, in this case just position, of each object. So in this case my objects are squares, and I'm having two squares in one pipeline. So we are going to have two instances. We can read the position of the current instance, add that to the position where we draw, and then we draw two different squares. But the other pipeline must draw on a different position, and I'm not going to change the vertex buffer. So then I would need to use, of course, a different instance buffer to draw on the other half of the screen with that pipeline. Yeah, I think I should try that. So it's just I mean, then I have to make changes to both instance buffers and textures, maybe a bit too much at once. Okay, I'm gonna keep the push constant for now, but definitely that whatever we're going to do for the textures, that should also be possible in the future for the instance buffers. So the vertex shader for both pipelines is the same, because it doesn't even depend on the textures. So more importantly, the remark here that even the fragment shader of both pipelines is the same, because I am going to change, going to have two different textures. Dev and Kill, yeah. I use OBS. Okay. Now I have the feeling that already this is not correct. I'm going to, I think I'll need a descriptor for a particular texture, for a picture, say. So since I'm going to draw in one go, given the pipeline, 2 squares with 2 different textures, I'm going to need 2 descriptors. You just bind the descriptor before you start drawing, and then you draw. There's no way that with one descriptor I can draw 2 textures, 2 pictures. So yes, there is a texture top and a texture bottom, but obviously I don't even like that. And this whole constructor, I check the instance ID, which is either 0 or 1, because we have 2 instances. It looks silly. I would much rather have an array. But now, one thing that I totally don't understand, I mean, now I'm really talking about an array here, right? Either that or I have to use 2 declarations, one for texture top and one for texture bottom. And then you cannot do anything else than branch, the way it is done now. It would be much better to have a single declaration, which means a single descriptor. I think a descriptor that describes 2 textures, and then that you can index them. That very much sounds like a texture array, right? Now, Sasha Willems has an example of that. I looked at it earlier today. And that uses a certain library. It's way more involved than you would think. As if it's not supported by Vulkan. At least you have to use a texture array. Let's open this, I guess. Wait. Oh, I didn't add my own history here. Oh wait, there's a history from then. That's what I want to see. Okay, so here we have window.h. What? that one. So this is Sasha Willems' code, not my code. And as you can see, he's using, let me find a better example. He's using the C API of Vulkan. And he's not really using a Vulkan engine. He's just hard coding everything in. And so these are the Vulkan functions. To start with VK, and then you have the C API. C++ API would be something like VK colon destroy image view. It's just a stupid wrapper around everything. But okay, I think we would learn a lot by looking at the shader code of this example. Because something that is definitely confusing me here is that this thing uses a single descriptor set. That's the only descriptor set. You can still ask yourself, okay, how many descriptors does he have? Well, one, I think. Let me just check. Let's destroy descriptor set. Bind descriptor sets. Let me compare that with my own code. Okay, I'll just jump to it. Because I don't know what, how many, but I see a 0 and a 1, so if you ask me, that's just a single descriptor. Or no, it is a single descriptor set, yeah, of course. Okay, let's see if I can jump to that. Nope, we don't know about it. I'm gonna try and find command descriptor sets in my own code. Well, this is the C++ API, so we call bind descriptor sets here, but that's really this function, or this one. And that then calls the VK bind descriptor sets. And yeah, it needs a pointer to a VK descriptor set, and then right in front of it is the size. So we have something like command buffer, bind point, layout, first set, size, and then the descriptor set. So that is the command buffer here, bind point, layout, first set is 0, and the number of descriptor set is 1. The last one is 0 and 0, that would be dynamic offsets 0 and data 0. We don't have dynamic offsets here. Okay, that just means we have a single descriptor set. Inside the set can still be multiple descriptors. So let's continue looking for this descriptor set. Set layout, create info. This is setup descriptor set layout. Now we are at setup descriptor set. We're using a library, VKS. We could call that the engine, sort of. Okay, here it says allocate descriptor sets. And I guess he's just allocating a single descriptor set here. Allocate info. Alloc info is here. Yeah, that's the one at the end is probably the fact that we have only one descriptor set. And then here I see, this is update descriptor sets. Right, descriptor sets. Oh, the 0 and the 1 are the binding numbers here. Yeah, okay, so he has two descriptors, one for the texture descriptor and one for a uniform buffer. So that is a single texture descriptor for 6 different textures. Hello, Hayroten. And Crowlex, no, not yet. I'm still working on the engine. So I'm kind of lost here. I looked through this code and I just don't see at all where he's using 6. Like, if you run this application of him, I'm gonna run that. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 even. Okay, so 7 cubes, each with a different texture. And if you ask me, this one glows and this one doesn't. So I don't know how he does that. Really strange. And then everything with a single texture description? What? Okay, but that's apparently the array thing. Because this is then supported by this KTX. So I found that here, KTX. This is the official home of the source code for the Gronos KTX library. A lightweight container for textures for OpenGL, Vulkan and other GPU APIs. Yep. That's it, Heratin. But okay, so they apparently they support a format where you can, it even describes a tool here, tool to create KTX files from PNG, JPEG, supports mipmap generation, compression, and he's loading a single file here. So such as loading a single file, a KTX file, ends on the extension .ktx. So I'm assuming that that single file then contains multiple textures, and that is then somehow displayed. But I want to understand the somehow, so Now he's calling it an array here, but really he's just using texture. I don't know what VKS texture is. Suppose VKS is included in the Vulkan example base.header. I don't see a VKS here. I mean, it's used, but I don't see a VKS header or something. Everything is in base. You know about KTX files, Haverton. You can help me. Have you any idea why this is using, seemingly only using a single descriptor for 7 different textures? Well, here we have a texture. There's a namespace VKS in it. That's it, right? This is the texture. It was defined himself or written by Sasha Willems. Okay, so VKS is his own thing. My texture has this too. If you remember, texture has image view and a sampler handle, and then a base class that contains the VK image and a memory. I don't think I store layout. Yeah, he's just doing a load KTX file. Kitten. I was thinking that is a mistake. I'm still thinking that is a mistake. I added to my texture as well a load member function. Oh wait, it's actually correct. Yeah. The load, so the load corresponds to these handles and stuff, especially the memory and stuff. But I also have in my object or in my class data related to the declaration in the shader. To take those apart, separate them. I feel like copying this code, because why would I reinvent the wheel? Texture 2D array, cube map. I think MIT means you can just do whatever you want. I mean, you can even use it in closed source, I think, commercial stuff. I would rather see it as I learned from it and then I write my own code. I could start with copying it and then changing it until it is unrecognizable. I mean, I would do that anyway. So I see that more as learning from it. But okay, I would say that these 7 textures are really just one texture. I think he has a single device memory handle, and therefore he has a single block of memory, and all the textures are in there, straight from the KTX file. But he has a width and a height, so maybe it's a layered or something. Maybe the layer count, maybe you load the KTX file and then you end up with a texture that has 7 layers. Would that be possible? Risk. I started with plasma and then I replaced the how do you call this thing? Fluxbox. I replaced plasma with Fluxbox. So basically, I'm not running plasma anymore. KDE. I'm running Fluxbox. Right. I want to see the layer count. Texture layer count. Can't we just print that? Quit. Thought it did. So low texture array here. Is it num layers? I don't think so. I thought it was layer count. And now suddenly it's called num layers. Well, this is layer count here. Is this, no, it's not. Texture array is the thing. Why does he not set the layer count or use it? He's just setting it here. So weird. I think it was called layer count. Nobody gets it. Okay, that should be it, and I'm guessing that's 7 then. It's probably not even necessarily printed. Yeah, this is the reason why I'm writing my engine, because I cannot remember this. Just, I guess I'm too old or something. Whereas Sasha is apparently has no problem with just remembering the whole Vulkan spec and all the variables and what they mean. So he writes a comment: this buffer is used as a transfer source for the buffer copy. And therefore it's obvious that we use that and that. What else would you use? And I'm like, yeah, no. I don't have to deal with this. Every time I would have to look it up. It's just too much work. So I want to hide that kind of stuff in my engine and then not have to deal with it anymore. Finally something with the layer count. Get image offset, layer, hubble up. I guess there's more data. There's more data in the image KTX image than we need. So he's just getting. He's skipping that extra metadata. So for each texture is just getting the offset, and then and the width and the height, and then copies them one by one. That is, it pushes back the order, the commands to do that. And then this has to be executed somewhere. So this is the normal, in quotes, I don't know, way to use Vulkan. You create an object and then you fill in all the members, which are all public, and then you pass that to a function. Image create info is being passed to this function. And my problem with that is that it just cannot remember all these things. I cannot remember it. That's all that data. I don't know, man. I mean, like, no. Not just remember, but also understand, of course. If you have to know exactly what you're doing. If all of this is like obvious, you just know all the possible options that you have, and you know exactly what they do, and you have no problem whatsoever to remember all that, then I guess this is a nice API. Like for the authors of Vulkan themselves. They know exactly what is possible and how things work. So they would just type this in, you know, like, of course, yeah, image type 2D, of course, and sample count 1 bit, tiling optimal, obviously, sharing mode, exclusive. I mean, yeah, come on. Huh? Stuff like that. And I can't do that. So I want to have an interface more like a file. I want to show it on my screen. Something like that. But yeah. Well, okay, let's forget the details. So apparently we have one big buffer and all the texts are copied in it. And I guess you also have the information about offsets and everything. It's just in there, and we can access it through a single descriptor. That's what I get from this, and I guess that's correct. But then how is that accessed? So one of the things I want to know is this, yeah, the vertices. What vertex buffer is he using? This looks like a single cube. It's like 6 faces, and each face has 4 vertices. So he draws a triangle, I guess, like tok, 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 tok. It's like a strip, triangle strip, and then again and again and again. So he's just drawing all the triangles of the whole cube. And this is the each of these things are therefore corners of the cube, and each corner is visited 3 times, I guess, once for each face. And then you have the same texture on each face, therefore these are the texture coordinates. So from 0, 0 to 1, 1, and then repeat it 6 times. I have no idea what this is. Yep. Index count. That's the size of this thing. Draw indexed. There's a loop over high. Yeah, these are just the frame resources, I think. I is nothing special. Frame buffer. So I think that this whole one block draws everything. And then you have viewport, source, descriptor sets. Well, this is one descriptor set, one pipeline. One vertex buffer and one index buffer. And I'm pretty sure that we just saw a cube that's a single cube. So I'll bet that the vertex buffer contains a single cube. And then I'm going to insist that the index buffer contains our 7 cubes. Let's start with looking at the vertex buffer. Create buffer, vertices size times the size of vertex. And that is the vertices are these things. So that's a single cube. And then the index buffer has a size, indices size. Oh, what? Oh, I see. Is they drawing literally one triangle at a time. These are coordinates of I don't know. Anyway, this is a triangle. So if you use these things as an index into here, then this is one triangle, and that's the other triangle of the same face. So this is one square, and now we have 2 squares, 3 squares, 4 squares, 5 squares, 6 squares, and that's the cube. And we still only have one cube. Yeah, I didn't know that was possible. Apparently you can have a vertex buffer and then draw using indexes into the vertex buffer. The layer count, that's 7, right? So the fact that it draws 7 cubes must come from the fact that there is a layer count. That's like the only bloody thing where is the layer count. A lot. So we have vk command draw, command buffer, vertex count, instance count. I was confused with index. It's called instance. Vertex count, instance count, first vertex and first instance. Okay, so we have a vertex buffer and an instance buffer to draw instances. With vk command draw. And then this thing, oh, just scroll down. This thing has also an instance count, but an index count. So I forgot now again what it was called. Vertex count, I guess. Well, vertex count was replaced with index count. Well, we still have an instance count. And we have a first index and we have a first instance. And now we also have a vertex offset. Value added to the vertex index before indexing into the vertex buffer. Index count, instance count, first index, vertex offset. So even though it's called vertex offset, it's still an index offset. Why vertex offset? Why not index offset? No, I don't understand this. Does anyone understand this? First index. First index is the base index within the index buffer. Is that like per definition the same thing as what did they say here? Huh? The value is the value added to the vertex index. Okay, I think we have an index buffer now, and the index buffer contains vertex indexes. Jesus Christ, let's draw this. Yeah, well, let's make a little buffer. Yeah, the number of viewers is lower than normal. I don't know. Do we care? I hope everyone here is here for themselves and not to be part of a large group. I'm more than happy with even the likes are very low. Yeah, I guess really few people have been joining today. Probably only subscribers. Maybe YouTube stopped with what is it? Advertising my thing. No. Okay, Vertex. Now I'm gonna call this the. Let's first make a copy. So I have an index buffer and I have a vertex buffer. And then we have an first index. I mean, index buffer contains stuff with indexes. Don't you wish? I did not do that like that. Why? Oops. Let's replace this with vertical bars. And then this thing also has indexes. Well, let's say this thing says 42. So vertex offset with is signed. So I'm making vertex offset. Yeah, whatever. That doesn't fit. So vertex offset is -12, and therefore the 42 is changed into 30. I think that's how it works. And then this is vec 4 or vec 3. What is it? If this is, I don't know what is it doing with vertex. It's like vertices probably. Size, create buffer. Well, 3 color 3. Texture commanders 2. Looks like there's something else. I don't know. No, there it is. That's simply 3 floats. Yeah, I guess. Seriously? I really need to look at okay. The shaders, yes. Okay, yeah, and there's even more data. Also the UV data is there. But okay, let's add it. Something like that. Yeah. Anyways. First index times index size. Nobody knows what index size is here. Whatever. I'll still only see a single cube being drawn then. Anyways. But then there is this layer count. VK door indexed 1, 2. The third one is the layer count. 1, 2, 3. That's instance count. Aha! So there are instances. There are instances. Then we need an instance buffer. We have an index buffer here. Where's my instance buffer? Bind index buffer, bind vertex buffer. Don't see it. Going to my own code. I'm having a vector of buffer, memory buffer. Apparently it's called Vertex buffer. Either way, bind Vertex buffer and then we actually bind instance buffers. A Vertex buffer and an instance buffer. I'm gonna assume that this is the Vertex buffer and that's the instance buffer then. But to verify that, we'll have to look where this thing is being assigned or filled. Let's look for that. Create vertex buffers. Push back. Yep, it's official. I do not understand my own code anymore. Oh, I missed this loop. That's doing it twice. Yep, doing it twice. So I rather have to look at where exactly this I guess vector comes from. Oh right, yeah, okay, I see. Yep. So the second one is indeed the instance buffer. But I would think that this one here means that we have just one vertex buffer here, not two like I did. So they do not have an instance buffer. Okay. I have no idea, man. Really? Let's look at the shaders. I mean, why is he passing an instance thing? Instance count. If he does not have an instance buffer. I guess you don't need a buffer like that. Maybe he's just using it directly, whatever the instance index is, and then shifts it using that. Yeah, I guess that is possible. You don't need a buffer then in that case. Okay. It's really time to look at the shader code. How can I find that? Prepare pipelines. Okay, I'm gonna go for .vert. Is something that is used in pipelines. Sorry, is used for shader code. And only happens here. So this must be the already compiled Vertex. So we probably don't want the SPV behind it. I'm going to look for instancing vert. Instancing. Yeah, this one. He does pass the position as a vec3 and then he DT makes it a vec4 here. That's why I was a little bit confused, but maybe that's a better way to do it and just passing once all the time for every vertex. Yeah. Although I doubt it. Just going to use those are just going to be padding in between here. Yeah, I don't know. value doesn't make a difference, but maybe. So this is the camera stuff, model view and projection, and if we ignore that, then we can you cannot look around, but this is then the position, and that is simply something from location 0. Well, I'm going to assume that this thing is being called for 1 cube. And then the impulse runs over all the vertices of 1 cube. And then we have 7 instances, and which is passed as well, like the layer count, which changes this thing from and here as well. Hello, Honzu. So he's using an array of in a uniform buffer, and then indexes that with the instance index to get a different model view thing. Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, I guess. That's how you can do it. Just an uniform buffer with an array. That way you can move stuff around. That's a lot of data though. Matrix 4 plus a factor of 4 and then times 8, because he has 8 different objects. But maybe there's no way around it. Such a matrix would allow you to not just move it around in 3D space, but also rotate it and make it larger or smaller. Any linear operation plus moving it. So you could make the cubes randomly and rotated, randomly distributed, and having different sizes, just by changing the model matrix here in this array for each of the cubes. That's kind of cool. So that's how it's being done. Aha! Yeah, seriously. It's kind of an eye-opener to see it like that. This guy definitely has a background in OpenGL probably, before he started on the Vulkan. So he knows this kind of stuff. And then we have an array index. And that, I think, contains our texture. Or not. Oh wait, UV, out UV. And that is a vector that should point to a place in the texture. Index.x. Somewhere I read in his code that he uses a vec4 for alignment or padding reasons. Padding, I think it was. So I suspect he's just using only the x. And even though it is a float, he's using it as an integer. No, not. It's out UV. But okay. It's changing the y coordinate, it seems. Or in UV is vec2. I don't know, what does this? It makes it vec3, yeah. So this is the z component. Yep, I do not get it now. Out UV is a vec3. Well, okay, he just adds information to a vec3. He could have also used a separate float. So it really depends on what he's going to do with it in the fragment shader, I guess. I'm gonna assume that the in UV corresponds really to the position in the texture, that the corresponding position of the vertex corresponds to for a given phase, and so on and so on. And then we add something that depends on the instance as a z coordinate, whatever. Nope, just using it as is. vec3, bang. Texture sample array. Oh, array. There it is. Sampler to the array. That's something that exists. Okay, well then we understand immediately how that the Z component is going to be used. Oh, I didn't know that existed, but apparently you can do it like that. Yeah, so if you leave out array, then you can just do a vec2. And if you have an array, then you still have a single descriptor. But with the Z component of the UV, you can choose which layer you want to use. Okay, now I know how it works. Adding support to my engine for this is not super difficult, I think. Basically, it's how I would, how I have to add support for arrays of textures. But and then I need the KTX library. It seems you can only really conveniently, at the very least, load KTX files. Yeah. Well, why not, you know? Something I could support eventually. I'm not going to do it immediately, I think. It's more important things to do. The downside is that I might completely forget what I just did. Let's say I postpone adding support for this for texture arrays for 6 months, and in 6 months I want to add it, and I cannot even remember that I looked at this by that time. That's gonna suck. But yeah, I'm gonna have a quick look at YouTube. Well, I'm still on the homepage. At least on my homepage. Doesn't say much, I guess, because everything else is also kind of related to me. A robot playing chess. No, damn it. I want a robot like that at home. I don't know why, but I'm scared that if I show this too long on my screen, then YouTube is going to complain again. Copyright and all whatnot. Might already be too late. They saw the picture, they recognized it immediately as one of their own videos. And I just lost my account. Yeah, seriously. Okay, so yeah, well, But don't tell me that every time you have a scene with a lot of textures that this is the way to do it, and you have only a single descriptor for all the textures. Or maybe that is a good idea. Have you ever seen with 1,000 different textures? Okay, 200 different textures. Do I really want to have 200 descriptors? Isn't there a limit on the number of descriptors that you can have? I'm gonna have to ask this. Well, I would like to show you guys what I'm typing, but I don't want to show the whole window. And you cannot show a part. It's kind of stupid. Okay, I'm just typing. I'm typing directly to Sasha Willems. Say, just studied your texture example. Thanks. Now I have the question for my Vulkan engine. Do I have to support this? I mean, what if I have a scene with, say, 200 textures? Is it a wrong idea to use 200 descriptors? Is the best practice to have a single descriptor for all textures? I don't know, I'll ask it. Ugh. He answers, if you have a large number of textures, just go bindless. Apparently bindless is the way to go. So what I did in the last half year can be thrown away. Not to mention that I do not really know what bindless is. Okay. I don't know, man. I'm gonna stop streaming for today. I know it's early, but doesn't see me as a bindless example. Still no bindless. Aha. So we studied the array texture today, but apparently it is possible to simply make it an array. Like that. So not a sampler to the array, but sampler to D, and then, yeah, an array like that. And you still have a single descriptor location. So I like that much more. It's more in line with what I've already been doing. Right, so I'm not interested in supporting mobile. I could use this, I guess. Otherwise, I think it was already released. This is from 2019. Vulkan has already bindless, right? Yeah, see the X has been removed, so it's already supported. Doesn't say which version, but I'm guessing then just version 1.1.3. One point two even. Jesus. And this one. Also 1.2. A special Vulkan Descriptor pool bindless. Okay, Vulkan Descriptor pool bindless here. I'm not seeing it. Global descriptor curation. I was just explaining anything. I guess this, I'm not sure what this is. Bindless set. Is this a special constant or something? Well, apparently all of that is necessary to get an array of sampler 2D, which I want, but then they use albedo ID, which looks like a compile time constant. Yeah. Okay. Unknown user. Yeah. The number of viewers has been a third or a quarter today, what that normally is. But I'm going to stop the stream now. I don't know, so difficult to think more. Maybe read more. Maybe I should stop streaming for a while and just start reading stuff. Because I think one of the problems is that I do not know enough. And reading on, learning stuff, reading web pages on stream is a bit stupid. Yeah, okay. So thank you for being here and